Long nights and early mornings, feeling misunderstood and lonely, constant hard work and self-doubt. This is all part of having the courage to chase your dreams and become successful. Are you going to take the risk? I have, and it's worth it. Don't be afraid to take risk and fail. These are the experiences that will help you grow and evolve into a better version of yourself. Start today, be better tomorrow.
Welcome to the Guam podcast. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the podcast belong solely to the host and guests, and not necessarily to Junior Achievement Guam or its affiliates.
Well, welcome to week 2. Today, what we're going to be doing is talking about week 2, what's expected. And we have today in the studio, Pinki Lujan, our executive director, Michelle Randle, who's one of the teachers with GCC with the marketing program, and she's doing something inside Tiyan High this year, and she'll get to share her story a little bit, and then we'll talk to Jane Ray, who's with SBDC, Small Business Development, and she'll be talking a little bit about business plans and setting up businesses. So let's start with Pinki. First of all, why don't you tell us a little bit what happened last week in the first week, what you've seen, and then let's get into week 2, what the expectations of each company is supposed to be completed by the end of the week.
Okay, thanks, Meg. So the first week was really exciting, and I, for one, was really impressed with the students and how they engaged. And I'm telling you, these guys want to win. So it's really cool when you see the students participate. A lot of them were even thinking already of nonprofit groups where the proceeds of their funds could benefit. I mean, they are ready. They're ready to create a company, and they're ready to make money. And I just love the foresight and the vision that a lot of these kids, the students, are having. So it's just really exciting. I did not expect the caliber of ideas, and even this whole virtual platform. They're really trying to manage their time. They don't want to invest too much time in production, for example. They know that they're really going to have to go heavy on marketing and sales because of the virtual platform. So it was really interesting hearing the different companies create and really look at what are the issues. You know, they know that they need to provide a need, not only globally, but for the island. So they're thinking of green products. They're thinking of products to help global warming. And, you know, I mean, it's just amazing, just amazing. I was very impressed. Congratulations to all the companies. It's a dynamic group of students this year, to say the least.
So what's expected next week? What do they have to have done by week 2?
So next week is elections, which is super exciting because, again, by listening to the students in a particular team, you can see what they're concerned about as individuals contributing to the team. So what I mean by that is, like, one student in a particular team will be like, I can't wait to market our product. I can't wait to sell it and hit the road, right? And then there's another individual like, okay, well, I already have a plan for budget. And, you know, you guys really got to stay, you know, because a lot of the students are also returnees. And so you've got beautiful synergy between the returnees and then the new blood. And that was another thing. I thought that they might be a little bit like, oh, you know, they're the new kids, you know, that we're going to take the lead because we're the seasoned students. But it's actually the reverse. They're embracing the new students because they're contributing the fresh eye. And so it's just like the real business world. When you join a company, even if it's not your own, you welcome new employees because they bring in a different perspective that wasn't already present within the company. Does that make sense? And so the next week is all about voting for your officers. And so you get to elect a president or nominate yourself as a president, and the president will also be in charge of the HR responsibilities. And then you've got the CFO, and that's the cool part. It's your business. You can call your titles or your divisions whatever you want. For example, GTA, they call their department the people department or the HR department, right? So you can be creative even with what you call your departments or your divisions. So going back to the finances, you've got a finance VP in charge of, making sure you're on top of budget, making sure that you're hitting your break-even points. And I know I'm talking some lingo, but this is the lingo, this is the language, the terminology that you're going to learn that is widely used in the business community today. And then the third thing is your marketing department or your public relations department, because everyone else is involved in sales, right? As a team, if your product or your service, whatever that business will be, that's where the whole team needs to engage and promote and sell for the success, right? And then the message too that I caught was, don't get so wrapped up on the product itself, because what the judges are going to judge the companies on is, again, the synergy. How well did all of you support each other? How well did you really leave it just to your officers to figure out all the problems, or did all of you contribute? And all of you, together as a combined effort made this business model a success. So I think I missed something though, right? There's 4 departments. So
Production.
But the production, and then the production department, which again, if it's a product that you're going to have to make from the ground up, a product that you have to actually create or make or produce, then the production department will be overseeing that. And then one thing we always encourage is, although you have an officer, the officers also will need like a team lead. So really try and form and think, even though you're not taking the top title, think of, we want the students to already like, I want to be in finance because I'm really intrigued with accounting and money, and I'm a numbers girl, versus someone again who wants to be a part of the marketing department because they think it's cool and they want to promote, the brands over all the social media platforms, which again is going to be an exciting new dynamic of this year's virtual program.
Okay.
So that's one aspect. Elections. Can you tell I'm really excited about elections, but unfortunately there's a little bit more that needs to be done. So after the elections, you do need to create your business plan. You do need to form and figure out how much you're going to actually produce dividends and stocks. So you're going to have to figure out that. That's where your finance department's really important. How much is your product going to retail? How much are your dividends going to cost? That kind of a thing. And so you've got that also on the plate for next week. So the elections is important, dividing everybody into their respective departments, producing the amendments and the bylaws, and I always forget the last one. What did I forget, Meg?
Stocks.
Oh yeah, which you did mention. Yeah, the stocks and the distribution of the company ownership. But this is the cool part. You get to sell it to your family, your friends. So you can actually sell dividends or stocks to outside of the school or the company. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic as well.
Okay, thanks, Pinki. Michelle, we're going to bring you on. This is your, fifth year?
This is going to be my 5th year as in the advisor position.
Okay, and I know she wants to try to beat 3 wins. Somebody else's record. But just share with us, you're meeting your students in school at Tiyan.
Yes.
But as far as week 2, how do you normally go about week 2? So how was week 1, but really just focus on week 2?
Yes. Okay. So just a little backwards. So week 1, we should have been nominating for officers' positions. And as Pinki mentioned, there are 4 positions. In the second week is the actual elections. That's when our officers or our candidates will do their election speeches. And the team goes into a vote. And that's where we find out who's going to be our president of the company, who's also going to be the vice president of human resources, who's going to be the vice president of marketing, vice president of production, and vice president of finance. And that's also the day that we've done in the past. That's also the day that the employees who are not in an officer position, that's when they kind of choose what department they want to be in. And they choose based on their interest or their strengths. And that's what we as advisors encourage them to do. Choose a department that you feel that you would be the most happiest and that you can add the most value to. And I think from the employee point of view, they're excited about it. They're not thrown into a team, but rather they get to choose. And we see how that impacts productivity. When, you know, just like us adults, when we are in a job or a department that we absolutely love, we look forward to coming to work every day. We look forward to just being there and you know, meeting the company goals.
Yeah.
That's a
So
good point, Michelle.
how about any insight on the bylaws and charter? I mean, that all sounds sort of confusing at first.
Yeah. So let me talk about the bylaws. Bylaws are really just how you want to run your company, how you as a group, as a company, because you're no longer just a team, but you are a company, how you as a company want to run your group. And we, in the bylaws, you can add anything to it. You know, we put up the rules on the board. People would say, well, let's make this a law. Let's make this a law. And we would write on the board, you know, take a list of the things that people feel are important, that would make them happy as an employee, or how they feel that would be the better success for the company. And we would write a list, and either all become laws, or we just kind of scratch the ones that might be redundant. For example, we, you know, in your bylaws, we determined whether there's going to be an hourly salary and how much the hourly salary, well, you know, there is an hourly salary, but how much it's going to be. We determine how much we're going to sell our stock certificates for. We determine what we expect for attendance to the meetings, just like, you know, an outside job, you have to come to work. So all those things go into the bylaws, and everyone agrees to what those laws are going to be, and everybody understands what they are. And I think, again, what makes it so beautiful is that everyone contributed to it. And rather than being told by the president, okay, these are our company rules, and we all have to stick to them. No, this is a democratic type of process. So bylaws are important. Yes, absolutely, because every company needs rules for everyone to follow in order for it to be successful.
My next question, when it comes to stock, is there any different, I mean, I would assume there's different ways to distribute stock. You know, you can do it family, friends, everybody. You can keep it kind of within the business. You can say everybody has to have a certain amount to buy in, you know, because a lot of times there's some big hefty return on investments. Somebody might buy a piece of stock for $3 and they're getting $35, $40 back at the end of the company program because you've done so well in sales. So is there anything that any rules around, because what if somebody buys 30 pieces of stock and somebody else only has 2? How do you control that at all, or just let everybody do their thing?
Well, in the past, that's a great question, May. Thank you. What we've done in the past with stock, and I found this in my first year as an advisor, I was like, what? We get to buy stock? That makes you an owner of the company. And the stock is important because that helps you raise capital. With any business, you need capital to start, whether you need to purchase materials for your company. So selling stock helps with the raising of capital. And in the past, I remember the first year that I did, I believe we only charged like $3 for a share. And in the last couple of years, I believe it was $5 to buy a share. We haven't, as in the last school that I was an advisor for, we didn't really sell our stocks to friends and family. We kind of kept it within the company. But I'm not discouraging anyone from selling to friends and family, but we did require, as part of our bylaws, we did require that every employee purchase at least one share of stock. And I think we may have limited it to one share of stock. That's how we've always done it, just one share of stock. It's $5, and everyone, based on our company policy, has to purchase one. Now, if other companies, maybe some companies might be a little, Simon Sanchez Private Advice was always a large team, was always a large company. So that's why we kind of kept it within the company. We raised capital within the employees. But you might find that if you have a smaller company, you may look at raising capital by selling shares outside to friends and family. And you may not put a limit to just one. It's just like the regular stock market. The person who has the most shares, if the company is successful, they end up with the highest dividends. So let that be something that you put into your bylaws and into your company, but you should not be restricted to, how one company does it doesn't necessarily mean that's the way your company will do. Just look at the size of your company and you look at the capabilities of its employees.
Okay, thanks. Anything else? Any other suggestions between week 1 and week 2 from either of you?
What I would like to say and what I would encourage is that, first of all, congratulations, and you have my utmost respect for those who are vying for an officer position. It takes a lot of courage to put together a speech and hoping that you would get elected. And what I also want to say is, for those who may not have gotten the position that they wanted, remember why you're there. Remember, that you're there to learn about entrepreneurship and support your officers. Your officers, they're going to have a whole lot of responsibility, a lot of things on their plate. And just like any other company, when things get a little hairy, when things get a little stressful, it's the leaders that has to continue to guide. So I do encourage you that in the elections, always choose who you feel would be best for the position, right? And also support them, support your leaders. And what else would I recommend to these students? Wow, I just formed a blank. I'm sorry.
No,
Pinki, do you want to add to that?
No, that's great advice, Michelle, because, again, in the real business world, it's not the big bosses that make all the progress and the profit. It's really any good company out there. If you observe any business model, it's the people, it's the team, it's the employees. Your company doesn't exist without employees. They're the human resource. That's why it's called human resources, right? So I really like that advice, Michelle. And I think the officer's position is, it's always nice to be the VP of something or the president of something, but it does come with a big responsibility. And you just have to remember, it's not just a pretty title. It comes with your whole team is depending on you, and the success of the company itself is totally contingent upon the concerted effort of every member of the team. I saw a video just the other day with it's a boat. Imagine a boat with your whole team in it, and everybody's rowing the same direction except one. Just all it takes is one member in the boat to be rowing the wrong direction, and now you have all this lag, and you're not steam forwarding, you're not going forward. So in order to create and maintain a forward momentum in your company, you need all hands on deck.
Agree, absolutely agree. And I often would say that a leader is as good as their team. And so I I've always believed that the way that our company structures right now is that typical triangle where you got the leader on the top and then you've got all the worker bees on the bottom. But really, it should be right side up. It should be the team really driving, and you know, that you as an officer should be taking that feedback from your team. They're the ones on the ground. They're the ones that are really engaging with the customers and doing a bulk of the legwork per se. So as officers, you know, should you choose this title, should you choose this position, I do encourage you to listen to your team. Listen to your team. Let it be where it's a concerted group effort. As Pinki mentioned, you know, if the whole team, let's put it in Pinki's example, if the whole team is going one way, but you got the leader going the other way, it's still not going to be a successful company. So we all need to work together and always look for the end goal. What is our end goal? And this program is going to carry you towards Christmas break, and we need to work together. So yes, absolutely. Thank you, Pinki, for that great example. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And one more thing, really, really quick, communication. If you're not communicating with each other, then there's going to be a huge breakdown. And some of the best companies in the world have fallen apart when there is a lack of communication, especially with the officers and their teammates, with the employees. So please, you guys, if there's an issue or there's something that's bothering you, you gotta lay it out. You have to be transparent. So transparency is very important, especially you have such a limited time. 13 weeks may seem like a long time. It's an entire semester for you guys, but at the same time, it's going to go by like that. And so you cannot afford to have any kind of festering of any negativity. You got to lay it out all out. So I think transparency and communication is also going to be the lifeblood of the company's success.
If I can just add to that point, thank you, Pinki, for that. If I can just add to that point, just like any other company, there's a handbook. If your company would like to kind of do a handbook on saying how are we going to address this, you know, in the event of this issue, in the event of a grievance, if there is problems between employees or problems between employees and the president or vice president, maybe create a small handbook and lay out what the expectations are and how we're going to manage our company on the day-to-day. The bylaws are great, these are the laws, but what are the daily expectations? How does an employee go about remedying this problem? So you might want to consider doing that as well, creating a handbook for your company.
It's called conflict resolution, right? Conflict resolution.
Yes.
Quick question to Michelle. When you're with your companies, do you pay commissions for sales, or is it just everybody sells? The way we work is that's the way we've worked in the past, because everyone is a salesperson. Just because you're in the production department or the finance department, that doesn't mean you have to sell. We've done like little bonuses, little presents, whether, you know, whoever sells the most this week, we do small little promotions. Whoever sells the most this week, they get this prize. And so we didn't pay commissions. What we did was we just pay dividends at the end of the year. The more we can keep in the account, the larger the dividends paid. But one of the things that we did to encourage the employees is that, yeah, commissions are great, bonuses are great, but at the end of the day, you're making money for yourself as well. So we can only get those large payouts of dividends is if everyone contributes to the sales. And I understand not everyone is a salesperson. But we say, well, you know what? Call your aunt today. Call your ninang today. Call someone that, you know, we don't expect them to go door to door and knock on doors and sell blindly. Absolutely not.
But this week, let's pick 5 family members that we can call, or your neighbor, or maybe your football coach, or whoever it is. And we do encourage that everyone takes their part in selling, because that is how the company makes money. It shouldn't just be 3 people doing all the sales. Absolutely not. Everyone should. And that's the way we do it. So it could be just a little gift card at the end of the week, whoever sold the most.
Okay.
And make it a competition. But again, as for those who are watching this podcast, please, if everyone does their part, we all get a bigger payday at the end.
Okay, so before I get to Jane, I'm just gonna do a quick review. So as far as this week, you're supposed to be electing your officers, forming your departments, approving the company charter and bylaws, initiate the business plan and capitalization, and then distribute stock to the employees. Okay? And make sure that everyone's communicating, that everybody has a different perspective. So just make sure that those are brought in. It's amazing sometimes those people that are extremely quiet have a lot going on, so they really bring some cool stuff to the table. Yeah. It's nice to have a good old organizational chart so everybody has some responsibility, because that's how you get people engaged, is give them some responsibility. And then same thing with the stock is, the stock is skin in the game. When you sell stock to not only yourself, but maybe one other person or whatever, depending, you want those people to promote you. So sometimes within schools, or even within your own school, if it's not an in-school program, or the company that is sponsoring you, you sell a few pieces of stock to individuals within that company, or maybe like the principal or a certain teacher or two. So they promote your business and they're involved. Because when you've paid to support somebody, or because you believe in them, then they're going to want to sell, and then, oh, well, let me make a couple phone calls for you, or let me see who else. This is an excellent product. So they'll do some of that marketing for you. Nice. And then last but not least is, again, when you decide what department you want to be into, I have a note, strengths and interest. Again, sometimes, at 15, 16, 17, you don't necessarily know what you want to do. So just get into a department that kind of gives you an interest, and you'll find whether you have a strength in that or not. A lot of people will say, wow, after JA, I realized that I want to be an accountant. After JA, I realized I really want to be in sales and marketing. So those are the kind of things that you can get out of it. So I thank you, ladies. And we will move into Jane with what's going on with business plans and setting up a business. So thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Have a great week too.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
So welcome, Jane. We just got done with Beth and Michelle. Now it's your turn. Again, to introduce yourself, do you want to introduce yourself? I know you're with SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center, based out of University of Guam. And I know you do all the, you help a lot of people start their businesses. And so as you saw earlier, the students are basically electing their officers, forming the departments, doing charters and bylaws, and doing business plans and selling their stocks. So I'm going to just let you take it away, introduce yourself, and what kind of recommendations or advice would you give to students that are just now beginning to start their business?
Okay, thank you, Meg. My name is Jane Ray. I am the Associate Network Director for the Pacific Island Small Business Development Center. So we do have a center on Guam, and we also have a center in Sinamai, Palau, and also the FSM. So we actually help a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs to start their business in the Pacific region. So if any of you decided to start your own business later on, or if your parent or your aunties and your uncle wanted to do that, just send it our way. We're located at UOG. That's the main thing that we do. Our counseling services is free, and we also have our training for the rest of this year is free too. If you want to learn about business management. So, okay, let's go ahead and talk about what you guys gonna do. So if you guys let off, some of the that you do need to think about is that you do need to take a look at the candidate that you have within your team. Who are the people that are in there, and what are the expertise, right? Are they comfortable with numbers? Are they comfortable leading people, right? Whenever you are selecting different officer, there's certain expectation you need to lead the team. What kind of characteristic does this, teammate that you're working with that they have? Think about the potential that they have, and then put them in position that will best suit their personality. At the end of the day, if you need somebody to be doing operation, right, you do need to have somebody that are proactive and keeping track of deadlines, making sure everybody is doing what they're supposed to. So being management is something that it's require a different level of skill set, right? Not just working within yourself, but also you need to make sure other people are doing what they're supposed to do, and that you are not hovering over them. That's one thing that you want to remember whenever you work in a team. It's always best to trust your teammate, let them take the lead on doing the things that they need to, and that, give them guidance if they have any question, and help them through the process if they're not sure. So that would be best, getting everybody on the same page and getting the best outcome out of the business that you guys are trying to start, and also trying to, win the competition, right? That's the goal. So that's something very important to think about, having the right people at the right place. Now, forming your department, right? So you do need to think about, so this is very important. Whenever you're starting your business, it is good to sit down within as a group, right? Thinking from the basic. When you're starting a business, what processes does it involve? If you, think about when you're a customer from you, of course, you need marketing, and then, you need operation people who can make the product, right? But also you need your finance people to in charge of the numbers, setting up the prices, making sure the cost that that it's incurring is charging enough to cover for that, right? So those are some of the different departments that you need to think about. If you are doing your product, definitely quality control. It's very important to make sure that your product that you're doing has certain quality, right? Based on your company, your mission, and your vision, right? What are you trying to achieve within your mission of your business? Are you selling a product that promote really quality work, or is it a company that doing different things? So, think about those different area and form the department that you need. Don't overlook any step. It's good to sit and talk with each other and just take note from there. That's very important.
I was just going to say, I know within each department, there's a few different things that have to be done. So for instance, even things like, when they do capital and they have to do their stock, the stock isn't just giving the stock away, but somebody has to track it and make sure it's there. So they have to, make sure that, the stock numbers, list the stock numbers, make sure who you've assigned them to, who actually pays for them. So, make sure you have all the information for each stockholder. So when it comes time to do, hopefully some return on investment to the stockholders, you have all those kind of things set, right? I mean, you don't.
So it's very important, right? As Max said, right, you kind of need to make sure that you have somebody to track all the information, especially selling your stock. You need to have a record keeping system that keep track whenever you how many stock you have to sell and how many selling to different individuals. And potentially when you give dividend, you do need to keep track of what kind of dividend to give to whom, how many shares do they have, and how much to give. So all those information is part of your department. So it's important to make sure that you have somebody that can keep paperwork and have a good organized skills to make sure that all the information is being tracked for your business.
What do you believe is the first few things somebody needs to do to make a successful business? Because I know through SBDC, you guys offer like business planning workshops and, a lot of multiple workshops. But for the beginning, what do you think, how do you know, especially as an advisor, what might make a strong company? What do you look for in individuals or people starting businesses? How do you know that somebody's going to be a success per se because of something that they're doing? Is there like some things that people do that you already know, oh, they've got this?
Yeah, so those are the I wouldn't say everybody comes in have the knowledge and the skills to get it done, right? But that's why we're all here to participate in Journey Achievement, to learn more of that, to build the skill set, right? Just like every client that come to, they do the same thing, and they would learn about business management. So you do all those training. So if you're not familiar with the area that you're in, it's good to take some training and learn about what exactly you need to do within managing the area you're in. Some of the good characteristic, if I see somebody, right, they have to be a good learner, right? They will able to be resourceful. Now information, you know the answer, they should go do their research and kind of get a good understanding of what exactly they get involved. And then sit down, think about the business planning process, right? There's different components that go into it. Business definitely is your first thing that you need to really think about. You have to have a good a business idea, a good value proposition, right? What exactly you're going to be doing different from your competitor that your customer going to come to you to buy the product that you're selling. Those are the very initial thing. The second things that you need to think about is that who is your target market, right? A lot of time people comes in and they always talk about, oh, I wanted to just target a topic. It's good to, we want to sell product to everybody, right? But who are those people that you really focusing on, right? Who's your target market segment? It could be based on your age group, based on marital. It could be based on the education level. You to be able to visualize who are those people that buying the product from you. Is it a high-end income? Is it medium household income? Or is it family with kids that gonna be using your product? So you have to have a good idea who's your customer segment. The next part is based on your customer segment, you're gonna need to determine your marketing strategy. Your market segment, each marketing strategy will be different, right? If I am your target audience, let's not talk about age, right? Just because I'm older, the way to reach out to you different from the way you reach out to your college student. If you're targeting college student, you might want to think about Instagram, you might want to think about Snapchat, TikToks and all that, right? But if it's for the older generation, it's your target market, then you might want to think about you advertising through newspaper, doing different ways, finding out ways to reach your customer. So that's another important part of it when you're thinking about your business plan. The next part after your marketing plan is basically your financial, right? What are your costs? What are your fixed costs, right? What are your variable costs? What are the things that you have to pay no matter what, right? Your marketing expenses that you have to pay, your business license expense, right? All that, you need to take into consideration. Your variable costs could be things that, associated with production, right? If I make a bracelet, how much does the material cost me, right? You kind of need to realistically calculate each one of those costs and making sure you're setting an adequate pricing to cover all of that. So all that kind of goes together. So each department is very important in terms of, keeping the company at the right place. If you one department that kind of not doing what they intending to do, then business could fall apart. So you need to really focusing on work that everybody is in the same page. If you get a good team, everybody's in the same page, you know, your team would most likely going to be winning the competition. That's what we're here to do, right?
Correct. And one of the things we remind the students is that yes, you want to have a great product or service. You want to have you want to have great sales, but really it's what you learned through the process, what you learn about yourself, what you learn about other people, and what you learn about business. So those are some of the things that really help win. It isn't always, the person who has the biggest return on investment or the best product, because again, sales and marketing is a lot of times where it's at, but it's who's financially secure and that can move on. Somebody who would want to even buy your company or your idea that you even came up with.
Yeah,
So,
that it's as many times I see many businesses, the value proposition, having the right customer that purchasing from you, all those kind of falls into place if you have the right vision, seeing everybody how they are doing it, right? So it is important to set it up, and it's important everybody know what they need to get done. Then everybody would be carrying, when you move the company, you have somebody behind, then you need to bring them up to continue making progress, not have somebody, leaving behind. So, as part of junior achievement, it is to also promote working with each other, to being part of a team and helping each other out.
okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna say what you just said real quickly, but you were saying, you're really looking for people who are good learners, they're resourceful, and then they have a good business plan, which means really having a good value proposition, know what the competition is out there, do a target market study, or have a target market, it's like sometimes I call it your avatar, if it's a lot of online stuff, but it's basically what customer segment you want to go after, have a good marketing strategy, which is kind of towards that target market, and then have a good financial plan. And same thing with financial plans, you're looking at your cost, your fixed cost, your variable cost, and even your annual cost. But to get the best budget, you can kind of set out so you know exactly what you need to do to raise capital. So as these kids sell the stock, they know how much stock they have to sell and how much, depending on how many that they're gonna release. And then last but not least, you said teamwork.
Teamwork, yeah. It's most important. You cannot make a company to be successful without other people. You need everybody to support you and get you there.
And again, and that's kind of like Pinki was saying earlier, is really about everybody working, everybody communicating, everybody having a job within the organization, so everyone's engaged and they're part of something. Otherwise, if they're not involved, they're not part of, it's easy to just kind of walk away from. So, anything else you want to add?
No, Mag, that pretty much everything. I mean, all I'm going to say is, good luck with the competition. This is a new way of doing junior achievement. Like many small business owners, everybody have to move online doing virtual business. It's a different territory to explore different ways of doing business. Be creative. This is the time to be creative. And good luck. And I wish you all a good competition this year. And most importantly, the key things is to have fun. Always remember, have fun.
Have fun first. I like that. Thanks, Jane. And we'll have you back on. Jane just happens to also be one of our board of directors for Junior Achievement this year. She's been with us for a few years now, but she brings a wealth of knowledge and information. And it's true, if anybody wants to take this business idea to the next level, SBDC is there for you. So it's fantastic. So thank you very much.